most of our customers, they measure their outages in hours in the month. The cloud providers generally measure outages in seconds per year. So, hundreds of hours in the year for our customers, low levels of seconds for the providers. So the resiliency of IT becomes a cost decision. So one region in Montreal, I want more resiliency, I'll pay for more. And obviously, from a data sovereignty point of view, you maybe don't have the same concerns as some of our other customers, but it's purely a cost decision at that point, right? So I want more resiliency, I want more regions, I want to do more with cloud. If it had to go more robust than that, and you could only use Canada, for example, you'd have to use more than one cloud provider. But there's obviously a cost that's associated with that as well. So it ultimately comes down to what's your recovery time objective for this application, how critical it is to the business, and how much am I going to spend on getting that objective met. But what I can say is it's generally more robust than a data center, in my experience in the last 8 years.
We haven't had use cases that can actually tell you the impact of an outage. So if you had the outage of S3 a few months ago with Amazon, if that propagated and replicated across the regions, you could have, even if you had multiple regions, you could still have an outage on your network or application. So as much as I appreciate the fact that it's really cool to be on the cloud, what I'm not too getting at yet is how do I manage the speed on how the changes are made within one region to the next region and so forth, because they all need to be replicated and looks the same. And if I have an issue at one and it gets replicated without controls, so that's still a challenge. I'm not saying that can't happen in the data center, not debating that, but I'm just trying to figure out how do I manage some of the negative use cases, and it's not there yet. So if I own 2 or 3 data centers, I can push the red button and get all the cowboys on the IT side to help me manage it, possibly, right? Problem I have with that statement is I'm at the mercy of the cloud vendor, so I'm just going to pick up the phone or get a service ticket to say it's down. I have no visibility now on the other side of the fence to say, what's going on. I'm sure they're working hard to restore it. Don't take me wrong, but I just have absolutely no control and visibility to say, what should I do? I just sit on my desk and wait for the phone call to come and say, hey, it's up and running now. It could be 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours a day. So that part of the equation, as a traditional IT person, I think that's a bit of a psychological thing you have to get over.
Yeah, we've been working in this space for 8 years now, and by 2014, we'd moved first securities trading platform for a tier 1 bank globally to cloud, first to Amazon, then to Azure later that year. And that was a risk mitigation exercise. So they were exiting a data center, and the regulatory body said, no, you can't just have it on one cloud provider, you need 2. So that was 2014. And early 2015, China's stock market froze, and there was a run on the Australian Stock Exchange. And that would have been a red flashing light moment. That platform would have been going off, and people would go to a data center and rack servers quickly to try and deal with the influx of people coming online. All that happened was the platform just auto-scaled out to meet the demand. And it's a great graph to see. But that organization, only a year and a half before that, was running its own GTM services to track whether Amazon was online, because they just moved their primary homepage. They were that uncertain about it. This is 2011, 2012. The only outage in a 12-month period that impacted that website was the physical infrastructure on premise. Took down their website on Amazon.
I think that's a great perspective, because I think it's all relative, right? Yeah. I think we've all suffered some type of outage at some point in time. Yeah. Some application goes down, some disk array goes down. It's about how often does it happen on-prem versus off-prem? Yeah. And then, to your point, it's the risk of, well, I'm not really that sure what's happening in the back end now because I don't have anybody there. And to your other point about how if you want to have zero outage, now the cost numbers start going up and complexity, because now you might be actually dealing with a second cloud provider. Yeah. And then you have to build communication between the 2 cloud providers and yourself. So all of a sudden complexity goes up, right? And then the whole, cloud is easy and it's cheap. All of a sudden that equation goes away.
Fundamentals of IT haven't changed, right? We have to architect to mitigate risk, right? And I don't care what technology you have, whether there's a windstorm or hurricane, loss of power, loss of people, it goes on and on, right? So our job, fundamentally, whether it's cloud, whether it's outsourced, whether it's on-prem, is still the same, right? So I think to have the management team that thinks that way is the key. Not to have a team that thinks about a vendor label. right? Like I spend zero time talking to my executive peers and my boss, the CEO, around my vendor labels. Like I don't talk about cloud, I don't talk about AWS, I don't talk about Google. We talk about business, we talk about the process, we talk about mitigating risk, we talk about our business continuity plan. So if we want to be up, if our loss of business for any distinct application or process is X, then the risk mitigation that we put together is Y, right? And simple as that. And it's back to, I agree with John, it's all around cost, right?